Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our distant learning program. As you know, based on this action schedule, you are going to have quiz 2 on Monday, which is today. In order for you to do the quiz a lot easier, I decided to take the first session of today class to be the review sessions. And in these review sessions, we are going to review two main important things that you have learned from all the book. Those are the blueprint book and also the writing tutor books. Oh, sorry, the writing bribes. Okay, so here what we are going to cover today in these review sessions. First, we will look at the vocabulary that you have learned from the blueprint books, and some of the vocabulary are also taken from the speaking tutor books. And the second point, you are going to learn some of the grammar point, which will help you a lot in doing the quiz for this quiz too. So without any further ado, I would like to invite all of you to look at the vocabulary that you need to pay attention to. So here are the vocabulary, and this vocabulary mostly related to the movie, which is taken from the blueprint 4 of your book from unit 2, which is I'll go out tonight. And we focus only on the movie type because it is the most confusing words. Some of us might confuse um, between each individual word. So let's look at one word by a time. Let's start with um, fantasy, animated, horror, non-fictions, and action. Okay, so the first word is fantasy. So what is fantasy? If you say it is a fantasy movie, so those movie is not real. It based on the imaginations of the writer or of the producer. And the movie could happen because of the technologies that we have nowadays. Those technology we call CGI. I hope you encountered this term before. CGI refer to the computer graphic interface. In the movie, you can see there's a lot of great plays, a lot of um, great scenes that you have never seen in your real life, and you cannot find it in the real place. Those plays are created using the CGI technology, which is computer graphic interface. It is not real. If you watch the movie Harry Potter, those plays are not real. Why can the producer make the movie out of those plays? They use the CGI. Most of the movie are taken in a green screen room, and then they put this new type of technology to make it look real. Okay, so fantasy movie first is not real. It comes from the imaginations and the technology behind those movies we call CGI. Let's move on to the second word. The second word is animated. As you can see in the background pictures, so animated movie are the movie which the character are not the person. It is not a real person. Those character that you can see in the background, all of them are um, created by the author. They draw a picture of those character and they put into the computer program in order to animate them. The most popular animated studio, which is Pixar. I hope you heard of those names before. So the Pixar film, which is the first film industry that created animated movie using the computer technologies. So people don't need to act, but they use a drawings model. And how can they make voice, everyone, in the animated movie? The voice that you hear from each individual character are being produced by our famous actor and actress. If you watch the film Mona, so the main character, which is the big guy, and his voice um, is from Mr. The Rock, okay, Mr. The Rock. So that's it for the animated movie. Let's move on to the other type of movie, which is horror movie. In horror movie, mostly it is very frightening to watch because it's about ghosts, it's very scary to watch, and most of the scenes are dark. It is not fresh. It's in the dark room and it make you afraid. And I'm not suggest all of you to watch horror movie. You might have nightmare after watching those type of movie. Okay, move on to the other types of movie, or it is also a type of book. And when we talk about non-fictions, so non-fictions refer to something that is real, something that is informative. When you read non-fictions or you watch a non-fictions movie, the movies or the book are based on the true stories. So let's say here, Make Time, which is the famous book by Gmail and YouTube founder, or he's the one who developed the Gmail and YouTube. And he wrote something to give a tip to all people related to make time for yourself. And those tips are real. So we call it a non-fiction. It is not a novel. It is a non-fiction book. And if you talk about a non-fiction movie, those movies are based on the true story. Let's say first they kill my father. It is being produced from the real movies that it is being produced from a real situations that truly happens. So we call non-fictions. Let's move on to the last word for this review session. So the last word is action movie. And if you see the background picture here, we have the famous actor, which is Tom Cruise. This one, we call him Tom Cruise. And he is one of the famous movie star in Hollywood. And the movie that you can see right here, which is the Mission Impossible, and it is the action movie. Why we call it action movie? Based on the picture that you see on the screen, you can see the motor chasings, the explosive here, and these movies are very special. It's frightening, it's a lot of fighting, chasings, right? So this is an action movie because it contains the fighting scene, shooting, and most of them violence, but in an entertaining way. Okay, so that's it for the vocabulary reviews, and we focus on the movie. So here are the words that you should know, and these words will help you a lot in doing your quiz too right here. Now let's move on to the second main point of this review session. We are going to review the grammar points. So the grammar points that you study from your blueprint books and your writing bright 3, there are two main points. The first, we talk about the probability. I hope you remember we can use modal verb to talk about probability. And second, we use infinitive and gerund. I hope you still remember what is infinitive and what is gerund. Now let's start with the first point, which is the probability. As you can see here, we have the modal verb of probability. And if we talk about possibility, which is not very certain, you are not very sure of something, let's say only 25% sure, you can say could be, maybe, or might be. If you see this modal verb, it suggests the idea that you are not quite sure about your predictions, or something that happened in the past is not quite sure. However, if you are sure, let's say 80% sure, which is about the strong possibility, you say should. For example, at 8 o'clock, it should be time for dinner. Okay? Or to. Both of these words has the same meaning, which express the strong possibility. Last but not least, we have another two modal verb, and it expresses the near certainty. If you are sure of something, you use must. And if you think it is truly not true, you use the word can't. Let's say you must eat to survive, which is very certain, or it must be raining today, which is very strong predictions, or you say it can't be raining because the sky is clear. Okay, again, the Moldova of probability, you can see those seven Moldova verbs, and they are expressing the degree of your certainties. Now let's move on to the last grammar point for the review sessions today. The last point is the infinitive. I hope you remember this picture. We have um, learned this already. So this picture suggests the use of infinitive. If you see the word in bold, they use to infinitive, which is to plus verb. But remember, some of these words they take to infinitive. For example, the word suggest, it means suggest to do something. You want to do something. You agree to do something. You arrange to do something. Promise to do something and decide to do something. And there will be a lot more vocabularies. So if you are not sure whether to use infinitive or gerund form after this verb, you need to check the dictionaries. Now let's move on to the last point, which is the gerund. So gerund is the verb that take ing form. Let's say the word suggest. You suggest doing something, you enjoy doing something, you practice doing something, and you're good at doing some things. And remember, the ing form doesn't take place within this word, but it takes place next to the word that follow this one. For example, suggest doing something, suggest going to the movie. Okay, so everyone, let's recap what we have reviewed so far. So there are a few vocabulary related to the movies, and we have reviewed two grammar points, which is um, probability and infinitive endurance. So that's it for the review session, and I wish you all good luck with your quiz today. So everyone, goodbye. See you again after you finish your quiz. Goodbye.